that was fascinating, and it's always good to hear a lawyer, though I could use that embracing word, to speak with different parts of the subject, because it's always very much more analytical than the media. But that said, if there are two parts to every argument, do you accept that it is right that there should be a debate, and that there should be those who do believe that the whatever, there's no silver bullet, everybody says, but there needs to be certain measures because there is an imbalance in the way the Earth's resources are being used, and an imbalance in the way that the world's ecology, environment is being under threat. Do you accept that that is right?
Yes. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes, I do very much accept that. I believe that due to the fact that we're embarking in this country on expenditure of huge amounts which could break the economy, and that we are putting the population of this country into a situation of great harm in terms of the costs of living, the turmoil of someone telling them how to heat their house and eating and so forth. I think it's extremely important that there should be a debate, and I don't think there has been a debate. And certainly before we embark upon something, and I'm not saying that the other side may have good points and they're able to destroy some of what I've said, maybe they can. I'm not preaching to you, I'm just trying to explain there are other points of view, and it is extremely important that we do have a debate, not of the sort where they're all appearing in a TV room and bickering with each other. I think it should be conducted upon a sort of an election basis, where each side can present without too much intrusion their point of view, and indeed it should perhaps lead to some form of public vote. I mean, we are embarking upon extreme measures very, very quickly. Even if the arguments on the other side are right, I suggest that they are over-exaggerated and alarming, and we should take more time investigating and thinking about what action should be taken. Yes, I certainly agree, a debate should take place.
In fact, I have two questions. My first one would be, if CO2 is not the cause of global warming, what is it? And if there's any research on that, there any, I don't know, biology, scientific, that is researching the reason of this, or is it just out there and we just following the trend? And the second question would be, global warming, is it really bad for humanity as such? Because we species, we grew also, we used to be more primal than we are now. Is it not just evolution, and the way, you know, and maybe we migrate, there'll be a variant of us? So I wonder if there's research and responses to that.
Thank you very much for that question. It's very relevant, and thank you. Yes, I haven't mentioned there are scientists who believe, first of all, that there are other reasons for warming and cooling, indeed. There is a group of Danish scientists who in the past, although they've been blotted out from speaking too much about it, but they've come up with publications of results that they've had which involves the sun's rays and the positioning of clouds, which can cause the cooling or warming of the Earth, and they felt it was worthy of debate. They put forward those proposals, they were examined, and they did show that they were quite appropriately, well, or surprisingly, if you like, aligned with the facts of what has happened in a period of time, that these positions of clouds and sun have caused temperatures to warm and also to cool. But it might be worth mentioning that there is recently a paper written by Dr. Valentina Sarkova, who's a professor at Northumbria University, who has pointed out there are actually embarking, in fact already in, what's called a solar minimum, where the Earth starts to cool for a period of time. This is now going through a process, obviously, of verification and debate, but it's similar to what was known as the Maunder minimum, which took place in about 1645 to about 1750. That was when the Thames froze over, if you remember. It only reduced the average temperature of the Earth by 1%, but it had a dramatic effect, and especially in the northern hemisphere. That is a cycle that comes upon us from time to time. So there you are. There are two factors there. One that says the sun and the clouds have a big effect, and those are not taken into account in these computers, and that's why they're surprisingly not coming up with the right answers. All these computer modelings, and we're getting it in the COVID thing as well. So yes, the answer is there are other causes which are being investigated, but they've been stifled. You don't hear much about it. They were stifled very quickly. And there is this new one now of the modern grand solar minimum. There are going to be two, apparently, one with a gap in between when there'll be a warming period. Bear in mind that we are in an ice age, but also in what they call an interglacial period. So we're in a warming period. They normally last about 20, 30 years, something like that. We're probably moving towards the next cooling period rather than the warming period. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your speech. I've learned a lot today about global warming. My only question is, how do we convince the rest of the world about joining the fight of the global warming when to some parts of the world it seems like there is a conspiracy? For example, President Al Gore and President Obama all championed the global warming initiative, but they all have beachfront properties. They all live in front of the beach, which obviously people would argue that's a global warming issue. Like countries like Brazil would say, why are you asking us to reduce or plant more trees when we are trying to get as developed as the West? How would you solve that dilemma?
Well, I think the answer is to educate people as much as we can, or much as I would like to see in terms of the debate and other factors, to take a much broader view of what this is all about and what are the political movements behind it. I think, in fact, the present narrative is more likely to damage countries or continents like Africa than be beneficial, because what they need, they don't want to be told to stop burning fossil fuels just at the moment, because that's what these countries need. They need to get on their feet. They don't want to be put back and just burning wood, or I mean, that's what's being suggested. We need to bring up other countries to the same level as Western democracies. That will stop immigration. That will stop all these this world worries about where we're going and what the problems are. We need to improve the lot of everybody in this world, and money would be better attributed to that cause than the cause of all these actions that we're supposed to be taking to stop all our quality of life, if you may. Thank you.
The opportunity to be honoured with the visit of distinguished and knowledgeable speakers, such as our guest speaker today, Robin Davies. We thank you, Robin, for your most excellent and informative presentation on climate change, which is one of the most significant challenges facing the world of governance today, and also the dramatic impact which it has on all of us. I wish to particularly thank you indeed for your very reasoned and balanced view. I found it most heartening to be able to identify with all of you sets, rather than being in denial as I sit in front of the television and listen to so much of the nonsense that we hear about global warming on television. Most heartening indeed, and I appreciate that enormously and identify with all of it. And on behalf of all of us, on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank you most sincerely for coming today and for at least giving us a talk that I, for one, can appreciate it more. Thank you immensely.
May I just say one word of thank you for all of you for listening to my talk, which I wasn't very proud of because it did go off at different angles, and it isn't always easy when your notes are not very good and there's a lot of information to portray, but I tried to give you the general thrust of it, and thank you very much. If you want to follow it up in any way, my essays, and I can be sort of contacted through this website, which is called Simply Delete, all in lowercase, and except delete is D-E-L-I-T-E, not delete, please. So it's simply delete.org if you want to make contact, or in view of arranging a debate or whatever. Certainly I shall be doing my best to try and promote it, the debate. Good. Which is what you suggested would be a good idea. But if any of you think you can help in that direction, your information and communication would be greatly received. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, all of you. Thank you.